7 miles down, total darkness. Pressure strong enough to crush a submarine like a soda can. That is where this story begins. For over a century, scientists believed nothing could survive there. No light, no oxygen, no chance. They were wrong. Something was found at the bottom of the Mariana Trench that should not exist. And the closer scientists looked, the stranger it got. So, what exactly is living 7 miles beneath the ocean's surface? And why does it look like nothing else on Earth? Stay with me, because this gets weird. Fast. Set the scene first. The Mariana Trench sits in the western Pacific, near Guam. It stretches for over 1,500 miles. And at its deepest point, a place called Challenger Deep, the ocean floor drops almost 36,000 feet below the surface. That's deeper than Mount Everest is tall. If you dropped Everest into this trench, its peak would still be a mile underwater. It was first discovered in 1875, completely by accident. A British survey ship called the HMS Challenger was just taking a routine depth measurement. They lowered a weighted rope, and it kept falling and falling, nearly 5 miles down, before it finally hit something. Nobody on that ship expected to find the deepest point on the entire planet that day. For the next 100 years, almost no one went back. Why would they? The pressure down there is so extreme. It's like having an elephant balance on your thumb. But eventually, curiosity won. And once humans finally reached the bottom, they realized they had no idea what they were looking at. So, what did they actually find down there? In 1960, 2 men, Don Walsh and Jacques Picard, became the first humans to ever reach Challenger Deep. They expected a barren, lifeless pit, a graveyard at the bottom of the world. Instead, through a tiny porthole, they reportedly saw something moving, a flatfish, alive, at a depth where scientists insisted nothing with a backbone could survive. That sighting alone shocked the scientific world. But it also raised a question nobody could answer yet. If a fish can live here, what else can? It would take more than 50 years to even begin finding out. In 2012, filmmaker James Cameron, yes, the director of Titanic, became the first person to go down there alone. Solo. In a submarine he helped design himself. What he found waiting for him at the bottom wasn't a monster. It was something quieter and somehow more unsettling. Microbial mats. Strange shifting colonies of life clinging to the trench floor in complete darkness, under pressure that would instantly kill almost anything from the surface. Scientists studying these microbes later discovered something even stranger about how they survive. They don't get energy from the sun, because no sunlight has ever reached that deep. So, where is their energy coming from? The answer was hiding in the rock itself. Scattered across the trench floor are hydrothermal vents and mud volcanoes, cracks in the Earth's crust, where scalding, chemical-rich water seeps out from deep underground. Most things would die instantly in water that hot, that acidic, that toxic. But the organisms down there don't just survive it, they feed off it. Through a process called chemosynthesis. These microbes convert toxic chemicals into energy, building an entire ecosystem powered not by sunlight, but by the raw chemistry of the Earth itself. Now, here's where it gets interesting. In 2024, a Chinese submersible called the Fendouzhe, which means striver, made 23 separate dives into the trench. And at depths over 8,000 feet, researchers found something they did not expect. A colony, thousands of worms and mollusks thriving at a depth where, just 20 years earlier, most scientists would have told you it was simply impossible. It was the deepest living colony ever recorded by humans. But that wasn't even the strangest part of what they found down there. In 2025, a research team studying sediment samples from the deepest part of Challenger Deep made a discovery that genuinely surprised even veteran microbiologists. Thousands of microbial species, Many of them never seen anywhere on Earth before. Not slightly different, not a new strain of something familiar. Genuinely unfamiliar life, built from biology that doesn't match the patterns scientists expect from organisms out on the surface. Here's the part that should make you pause. These microbes are not just surviving extreme pressure and darkness. Researchers found they have astonishingly versatile metabolisms, meaning they can switch between multiple, completely different ways of generating energy, depending on what chemicals are available around them. In simple terms, they adapt to almost anything. That kind of flexibility is rare, even among the toughest organisms we know. So, why does that matter so much? Because if life can adapt this dramatically just 7 miles down on our own planet, surviving conditions almost identical to what's hidden beneath the ice on Jupiter's moon Europa or Saturn's moon Enceladus, then the question stops being, could anything survive an alien ocean? It becomes, what kind of life might already be waiting there? Scientists studying the trench are not just mapping the ocean anymore. They're quietly mapping the rulebook for where life can exist, anywhere in the universe. But there's one more discovery from down there, and it's not the kind of wow moment you're expecting. Here's the part of the story that nobody wants to hear. In 2020, a Chinese expedition diving into Challenger Deep found something alongside the new microbial species they were documenting. Plastic, a discarded bottle, sitting at the bottom of the deepest place on Earth, nearly 7 miles from the nearest human being. Let that sink in for a second. We have sent fewer than 24 people to the bottom of this trench in all of human history. It is harder to reach than space. It is more remote than anywhere else on the planet, and we still manage to leave trash there. Researchers have since confirmed that microplastics, tiny plastic fragments, are present in sediment samples collected from Challenger Deep. Even at the most isolated point on Earth, human pollution has already arrived. So, what does that mean for us? It means there is no part of this planet, no matter how remote, no matter how extreme, that exists completely separate from human impact anymore. The same trench that's teaching us where life might exist in the universe is also quietly recording how far our footprint has spread. That should change how we think about exploration. It's not just about discovery anymore. It's about responsibility for what we leave behind. Even in the places we'll never set foot in ourselves. But there's still one more twist to this story. And it might be the most important detail of all. Here's the detail most people miss completely. We have better, more detailed maps of the surface of Mars than we do of our own ocean floor. Think about that. We know more about a planet 140 million miles away than we know about a trench 7 miles beneath our own oceans. Less than 5% of the world's oceans have been mapped in high resolution. Most of what's down there, the creatures, the chemistry, the geology, remains completely unexplored. Challenger Deep is not some rare exception. It's a preview, a small glimpse of how much of our own planet we still haven't seen. So, when you ask, what did they find in the deepest place on Earth? The real answer isn't just strange fish or unknown microbes. It's proof that mystery doesn't only exist in outer space. Sometimes it's 7 miles straight down, in total darkness. Right here at home, we've barely scratched the surface, and the surface isn't even the part we're missing. Let's bring it all together. 7 miles down, in total darkness and crushing pressure, scientists found life that defies explanation. Microbes with strange new metabolisms, thriving colonies feeding off toxic vents, and ecosystems that look nothing like anything on the surface. They also found something far less impressive, a plastic bottle, sitting where almost no human has ever been. Both discoveries are part of the same story. Earth is stranger and more fragile than most of us realize. If this video pulled you in, hit subscribe, because we're going back down. There are other trenches, other unexplored depths, and other discoveries waiting that are even harder to explain than this one. Here's a question for you. If scientists ever find something down there that we truly cannot explain, Do you think they'd tell the public right away? Drop your answer in the comments. I read all of them. And if you want to know what's hiding in the second deepest place on Earth, a spot almost no one talks about, that video is coming next. You don't want to miss it.